Check. 1, 2, 3.
The
Brief.
This is the Debrief.
Your guide to Detroit.
Your guide to Detroit's arts
and entertainment scene.
This is the
Brief.
Hello and welcome to The Debrief, your podcast for Detroit concerts, comedy, plays, food, drink, and more. It's Tuesday, February 5th, 2019, and I'm your co-host. My name is Seth Ressler.
And I'm Becky Scarcello.
Hey, how was your Super Bowl?
You know, it was uneventful.
Yeah, not so much. Yeah, I think Tom Brady's was uneventful too. Maroon 5's was uneventful. It was just kind of an uneventful.
I just don't think it'll go down in history as one of the betters. Yeah.
No, not so much. All right, here's what we've got on this podcast today. First of all, I got an opportunity to sit down with the brand new curator of MOCAD, the Museum of Contemporary Art in Detroit. You see this is the big black building that's on Woodward. You see it there, and it's got the neon sign that says everything's going to be all right. They got some cool, weird, vibey stuff going on, and we're going to talk a little bit about that.
I'm going to tell you about Dilla Day coming up this weekend.
This is the big rapper. This is the
Jay
guy.
Dilla.
Yeah.
Music producer, just hugely influential on so much of 90s hip-hop, kind of the neo-soul sound. So
awesome.
He's a Detroiter.
Hey, speaking of the Super Bowl, the big three car companies did not have ads this year. Did you notice that?
Conspicuously absent.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that.
And on Thursday, you're definitely going to want to tune in for this one. Josh Malerman, the author of the crazy viral Bird Box.
Yeah, this movie on Netflix with Sandra Bullock and John Malkovich.
He wrote the book that it's based on. Yep.
Yeah,
which is now a New York Times bestseller.
Yeah, it's a freaky movie. Mm-hmm. It's frightening.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, we talk about a lot in this podcast. If you want links to the things we talk about so that you don't have to take notes and transcribe everything that we talk about, all you have to do is go over to our website. It is thedebriefdetroit.com. Sign up for the email list while you're there, and we will send you an email with links to everything that we're talking about.
You can also just pick up your phone and text the word Detroit to 444-999.
All right, we're going to meet our guest host in just a moment. Stick around.
Can't get enough.
This is the Debrief.
Subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you find your favorite shows.
All right, we have something new that we're doing here at the Debrief. We talked about this last week. It's something brand new because we have done over 100 episodes of this podcast. Over a year now, we have been interviewing folks from the arts and entertainment community here in the Detroit area. And every time we do, they ask us the same question.
How do I start my own podcast?
Right.
I'd like to do a podcast. I have stuff to talk about.
I mean, no joke. We've heard that over and over again, like almost universally from everybody who's been on. And we say, yeah, you should launch a podcast.
Right.
They're great. People love it. You get in touch with listeners, you build a connection and develop a relationship. And yet they need help.
Right. Well, or they want help. Just like, hey, I've got 10 million other things to do.
Right.
I really just want to talk about what I'm passionate about, or I just really want to connect with my audience for my museum or my band or my restaurant. I don't want to have to worry about editing and what kind of music I'm going to have on the podcast and how do I get it up on iTunes and what do I do from there?
So that's where we come in. We are launching Michigan Podcast Productions, and the whole idea is we are going to help Detroit arts and entertainment organizations produce their own podcasts, launch them, get them up off the ground, so that all they have to do is focus on the content. We handle everything else, and it helps them connect with their fan base, their clientels, their customers, whoever it may be.
Exactly. I'm excited about it.
I am too.
Yeah.
It's going to be really good. So if you want information, if you've been thinking about launching a podcast, but you want some help getting it up and off the ground, all you have to do is go to the brand new website. We just launched it, MichiganPodcastProductions.com. MichiganPodcastProductions.com. Check it out.
The Debrief.
Detroit.
All right, let's meet our guest host for today. Her name is Tazeen Ayub, and she hosts a show called Digging Deeper on Instagram Live. Happens every Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock. And what it is it's interviews with artists, activists, or people with spiritual practices. She's also a musician. Member of the jazz collective Lufuki and Divine Providence with her husband, and also has their own duet that they do as well called Love and Light. It's an acoustic band. Welcome. We're so glad to have you here, Tazeen.
Thanks for having me.
How did you know? You two have met. You two have.
Yes.
We actually met in the Belt. The alleyway called The Belt through some mutual friends, and just, the stars just kind of exploded from our eyes since then. So.
Wait, what? You guys in love? You guys
then,
eloping?
Just a bunch of things transpired after that.
Yeah.
But she was on my podcast on the Instagram live show last week.
Right.
So let's talk about this. I mean, explain how this works and how this show came about,
Yeah.
because you're in season 3 now.
I am in season 3. So last year in January, I had this idea where I just wanted to have these reflective discussions with local artists, people who have a spiritual practice, people who are activists, because many times artists fill all 3 of those roles. And so I just started it. So we have a different guest every single Tuesday. We sit and we talk on Instagram Live. So there's a visual. You can log in, you can comment, you can, put questions and whatnot. And then at the end of the hour, it's a discussion on a topic that's relevant to the artist. And then they will present their expression. So we've had people sing, play guitar, do drums. There was one artist came and she did yoga. So it's all sorts of different types of expression.
Mine did not include an expression.
Yeah, I was going to say, what was your expression?
I was a little bit of an offbeat guest.
But yours was about connectivity.
Connectivity.
You could give a tour on the...
Well, that just seemed logistically a little
Right,
tough.
They can yoga. Can't yoga on this
that
podcast.
one was a little bit awkward. We had to do the downward dog and whatnot.
We have somebody yogaing in the background right now. If you listen very carefully.
Right, exactly. But yeah, it was all about my interaction with artists and musicians and people that I give tours to, just how you connect as a human to your community and pursuing the arts and encouraging the arts and advocating for that. So it made sense in the end.
Which is necessary. Any community is going to have artists and then people who support the arts.
Supporters, yeah.
So give me an example of some of the other guests that you've had on and what they've done and what they've talked about.
So many different people. We had Mahogany Jones on, and she talked about advocacy, how to use your artistic platform as a means to speak for people who are voiceless or to speak to social justice causes that are happening. We've had guests like Kanem X. He's an artist who is now moving to New York, and Mahogany is also moving to New York.
Yes.
But he plays guitar, and he talked about finding routine and how does he, maintain routine in creating music and gigging. We've had people talk about, there was a professor, Dr. Joyce P. She's a professor of math, but she does mindfulness workshops. So she did a session on mindfulness. And how do you calm yourself, and how do you get into a space where you can produce and create and just live in a happy environment, with yourself and the people around you. So it's all sorts of different types of artists.
And I think very applicable to a lot of people. I think there's so much that so many of your guests say that are kernels of wisdom that are really beautiful and apply to everyday life, even if you're not an artist per se.
And we're going to admit here that she is the Instagram pro, and I'm more of the Tweeterer.
Tis true.
So how does Instagram Live work? Like, if people want to tune in, how do they do that?
So you have to have an Instagram.
I have an Instagram.
So all you do is you go to the page, which is my Instagram page at Tazeen Ayub, and my profile picture will have a ring around it, and it'll have a play button. And so when you click it, you're now logged into the live video.
Look at that.
And that's it. And once you're in it, then you can comment and you can wave and you can type whatever. You could even, we had one episode where it was an artist who was in Jakarta at the time. And we did, you can call in online, so it'll show you a split screen.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So you got two people downward dogging at the same time?
In different parts of the world.
Different parts of the world. It's fantastic. Well, also you can see that for 24 hours.
Right.
So you can be there when it's live, but you could still see it that way for a day.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Just like an Instagram story.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And then I just upload them to YouTube and the website and Facebook. So you can still go back and see all of the episodes, but you can't interact with it the same way that you would if you were on live.
That makes sense.
I think it has an interesting effect on your guests too, because when there's not really the possibility of editing, you just have this free flow conversation.
Right. Yeah.
And there's something pretty great about that. Of course you could maybe say something that you like to take back later or whatever, but I think that just makes it seem more like which you are literally in your living room, just talking, and it's
That's
what happened in the
it.
moment.
Mm-hmm. Because there's a certain structure of things that we're talking about within that topic, but then organically the conversation is going to go in different places, and I just let it go. And the things that artists will say are just really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So what have you learned in the 3 seasons of doing this?
that every single person has so much wisdom. Everyone has experiences in which they've learned something and can share something that will benefit someone else.
Wow. Well, very cool. Well, look, we're glad that you're here. Hang out for a little bit
thanks for
and enjoy the show. And there's no interaction on this podcast. So we just, fortunately, the fans can't talk back to us because
We're not sure what they would say.
yeah, we're afraid of that, to be really honest. But
Can they comment, though?
What's that?
Can they comment?
After the fact, yes.
Yes.
But not like
Not during.
Yeah, if I'm getting a thumbs up right now, I don't really know.
Yeah.
And I'm probably not. So stick around.
This is the D.
All right, Becky, let's get into music news. What's going on?
So the Sphinx competition took place just this past weekend. It's the 22nd year for this. Now, the Sphinx organization was started in Detroit as a way to encourage and give a platform to minority string instrument players, young people that are primarily Black and Latino that are underrepresented in classical music. So it's open to junior high, high school, and college age, and they have to reside in the U.S., but that's really the only requirement. Just play a string, be Black or Latino, and live in the U.S. So it's a chance to compete under this, very interesting, rich environment with professional artists and really internationally renowned judges, people that really know what they're talking about when it comes to classical music. So the finals concerts, it's a partnership between the DSO and actually the Pistons came involved last year. So they're who's behind the prize money and how it all comes together. So the juniors division winner this year was Nigel Witherspoon, 17-year-old cello player. He won $10,000 and he gets to do solo appearances with major orchestras. He got to perform with the Sphinx Symphony Orchestra and it was in a nationally broadcast radio appearance.
Wow. That's a big platform.
Like you would not have that chance
That's a good
without
deal.
this competition. So, and then the senior winner is a 19-year-old named Sterling Elliott, who also plays cello, and he got $50,000 and all those other things.
Wow.
So it really can help kick off a career.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Now, Tazeen, you play an instrument. You play the guitar,
play guitar,
right?
yeah.
How did you learn?
I just taught myself YouTube videos. It was really YouTube videos. And then I just started writing songs and performing at open mics. And then I just continued with that.
And what about singing? Because you have a gorgeous voice.
Yeah, well, singing, I'm Muslim. So I before I started singing, I did 8 years of vocal training to recite the Quran, it's very much like singing. And then I got into singing. So that, I guess it wasn't formal training in singing itself, but vocal
but your
training.
voice control.
Right.
Yeah. Very cool.
Very cool.
So we also have Dilla Day coming up, or sometimes it's known as Dillatroit.
Yeah.
So Jay Dilla, the internationally famous music producer, rapper. He passed away in 2006, but he was born and lived in Detroit. He was born in the month of February and passed away in the month of February.
Wow.
So that's why we celebrate him in February. Right. So he really shaped 90s hip hop. I mean, that sound that we think of like Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, Roots, Busta Rhymes, people, that's all people he worked with.
So I have to make a confession, which is that, I'm very much a child of 90s hip hop. Like I grew up on that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was not familiar with the work of Jay Dilla before I came to Detroit a couple of years ago.
Were you familiar with Slum Village?
Yeah.
No, I mean I was a Dr. Dre, G-Funk kind of that school of production. I mean much more West Coast than East Coast.
Well, that can explain it from your California.
Right, which is why. So I feel like I have some homework to do here.
Yeah, and I think even sometimes people in Detroit, I take a lot of people on tours and there's some great murals that depict Jay Dilla, and I'll ask my groups and I would say most of the time, at least 50% of them don't know. Yeah. But then when you start naming the groups and the songs, and maybe you start with Slum Village and move on, and they're like, oh, he's one of those guys that you don't realize how much of the music you love was shaped by him.
Right.
That whole neo-soul sound.
Like Far Side and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, just pretty amazing. And it's one of those things like you got to wonder what would have happened if he was still alive,
So the album to go check out to start with is Donuts. Is that that's what I've been told?
That was released just a few days before he died, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that was 2006. But if you go back and look about all the people
I
he
would
produced
highly
with,
recommend the Slum Village one.
Slum
Fantastic
Village, yeah.
Volume 2 is probably like one of their most famous ones.
yeah.
All right, I'm writing these down.
Yeah.
The other thing that I did check out last year when we were talking about Jay Dilla on this podcast was Vox has a little video together. Have you seen these Vox
I
earworm
love
videos?
those. I love those.
They're amazing, and they
It's
had
so
one
much
on G-
information in such a short clip.
in an
Right.
entertaining way. Yeah.
Well, and it's often about hip hop or
Right.
or some other
Predominantly,
modern form of music,
Right.
and it really dissects it. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Exactly.
yeah.
So to help celebrate, if you want to get out and celebrate Dilla, you can go on Sunday, February 10th. There's the annual Dilla Day. I think it's like the 8th annual at the Charles Wright Museum. This was kind of spearheaded by Piper Carter and her group,
Yeah.
We Found Hip Hop. So she's very involved in that. Kids can learn how to lay down their own tracks, write their rhymes. There's lots of hands-on activities all surrounding STEAM
Right.
education, right?
She does such a good
Wait,
job.
STEAM. I know what STEM is. Where'd the A come from?
Arts.
Arts.
Oh,
Which I think is fantastic because
It should be
arts,
there.
Yes, complements all the other things. So,
Piper was also on one of my episodes of Digging Deeper, season 1.
oh yeah, and she's
very
been
cool.
on our
And
podcast
she talked
too.
about We Found Hip Hop.
Yes,
Yeah.
same on our podcast. So she is. She just does a bazillion things around town, but she also started a GoFundMe because Dilla Youth Day is all free. Anyone
Right.
can come. All the programming's free, which is a tremendous thing for the community. But if you'd like to support it, she does have a GoFundMe. And if you just want to go to GoFundMe.com and search Dilla Youth Day 2019, you'll find it. So the Grammys are coming up.
Yeah.
I get less and less excited, actually, for the Grammys. I don't know what you guys
I couldn't
think.
get less excited. I couldn't.
I mean,
Really?
every year I'm kind of less excited because the shows just aren't the same.
As what? I worked in the music industry for like 20 years. I've never.
Oh, I used to
Cared
love
about
them.
the
They were
Grammys.
I
like
love
amazing.
them growing up, but I haven't
Me
in
too.
recent years I haven't really been keeping up.
No.
It feels like the voting academy. I don't know. It feels like it's 14-year-old girls. You know, it
Yeah.
just it doesn't represent a lot. I mean, you know, but whatever. It is what it is. It's this Sunday, the 10th. Alicia Keys is hosting.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I mean,
That's pretty cool. Though.
she seems good. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean,
We'll see how it
that's
turns out.
That's different for a musician. I mean,
It
it's
is
one thing for
different.
an actor or even a comedian to do it. For a musician to do it, we'll see.
So things to look out for is Diana Ross will be there. She's celebrating her 75th birthday a few
Wow.
weeks early with a huge, like, supposedly diva performance. And
That's musicians. I mean, performing music will keep you alive and young.
Exactly.
Forever.
I agree. And she, interestingly enough, she only won one Grammy. But
Really?
it was a good one, Lifetime Achievement Award in 2012.
Yeah, but no,
But nothing before
Yeah,
that.
that's
Yeah.
like the makeup Grammy. That's
Right.
like
Well,
we
that's
screwed up for a
yes.
really long time.
Exactly
Yes.
what it is. Like, sorry, Supreme. Sorry,
Yeah.
Diana. Let's just give you this to kind of cover your whole life.
Wow.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, but up for nominations are Greta Van Fleet, Eminem, Betty LaVette, Regina Carter, and Jeremy Cattell. They're all locals to look out for. Hopefully they win. So my concert picks for the week. Wednesday, February 6th, there's a Bowie night at Loving Touch. This is their 4th year doing it. Live bands performing Bowie covers and a DJ spinning all Bowie, all vinyl. Thursday, February 7th, you got Sheila E. at the Soundboard.
I love Sheila E.
She is amazing.
We saw her at Shane Park last year. That performance was phenomenal. She
Oh,
opened for
yeah.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I wanted to go to that so bad.
She had so much energy. And then she played hand percussion with Earth,
With them.
Wind. Yeah.
That's a dream.
It was great. It was an amazing show.
Wow. So opening up for her, which is super cool, is Stephanie Christian, who we've talked about on the podcast and interviewed her when she was with Inner City for the Movement Festival last year. So she'll be there. Saturday, February 9th is the Michigan Music Festival. It's billed as a little bit of something for every musical taste. It's at the Crowfoot Ballroom. It's basically local up-and-coming bands, and it's hosted by Smash from Cave Radio's Smash the Scene. And on Tuesday, February 12th, shares at LCA. On sale now is Hip Hop 101, Hardcore Detroit Breakdancing, Mahogany Jones, and Detroit Pistons Bucket Band. It's all going to come together inside the Cube, which is at the Max Fisher Music Center, by the DSO. And I say go buy your tickets now because they're only $12 in advance. You
When
gotta
is
pay,
it going to be?
You got to pay $25 at the door. So it's on Saturday, February 16th in the evening. I think it's at 8 o'clock.
Cool. Hey, if you still need to get somebody a Valentine's Day gift, we'll show you where you can get some Detroit gifts in just a moment.
The D-Freak.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.
All right, you guys know MOCAD, the Museum of Contemporary Art Detroit.
I love that place because you can always see something like fantastic and weird and cutting edge. And
So I'd never been in there. Have you been in there?
I have
Yeah.
a few times.
I had never been in there, since I moved here to Detroit.
Okay.
I've passed that building quite a few times because it stands out.
Yes.
It's the big black building there on Woodward. I actually saw the Amazon show about the cars, the Grand Tour.
Oh, Grand Tour. Yeah, yeah.
And
did they show it?
They did. It's
Oh.
and it totally stands out. You're like, I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sense
I
of
was
place.
really curious to go in. I had an opportunity last week to sit down. They have a brand new curator over there. His name is Larry Osei-Mensah. He is the brand new Suzanne Feld Hilberry Senior Curator. And he has put together his first exhibits for the museum.
Oh, nice.
Right? He just started last fall. And he's got 4 exhibits, the winter exhibits that just went up over the weekend, had a big reception Friday night and all that. And so I had an opportunity to sit down and talk to him about those exhibits and find out a little bit, what they were all about. First thing we did is we sat down and I asked him to tell me a little bit about his vision as a curator, because he's been curating exhibits independently, not for,
Not for a specific venue, but different shows everywhere.
Different shows everywhere, all over the
Detroit?
country, New York, Miami Beach. This dude gets around.
I believe he moved here from New York.
He still has a home in New York.
Okay.
He's shuttling
Okay.
back and forth.
Okay.
Right, yeah. So I asked him to tell me a little bit about his vision as a curator.
That's really, the bedrock of my practice is like, how do you use art culture as a platform to get people who normally wouldn't be in conversation to talk to each other and hopefully learn about each other. Will they be best friends after that? Maybe, maybe not. But I think they know that individual a little bit better, or at least know their points of views on things. Because I think at times people can kind of move in their own bubbles. And I think that's not advantageous. And so we try to, do our job to help build those bridges.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing because he did not start his mission as a curator as saying anything about showcasing the certain art or working with certain artists. He's talking about the viewers.
Yeah, that is
It's
interesting.
pretty
the experience that the
telling.
viewers are going to have.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to start conversations
Yeah.
Right.
and start conversations between people who maybe wouldn't necessarily have conversations otherwise,
Right.
And get them to come around and sort of see where other people are coming from.
And react to
Yes.
what they're seeing. Yeah.
And have
So-
conversations about them. Yeah.
So one of the 4 exhibits is called Parallels and Peripheries, and this exhibit, so there's not only a curator for the museum, but there's curators for each of the exhibits. And this one of the 4 exhibits, Larry actually curated himself.
Okay.
And he did an iteration of this in Miami Beach, and so now this is the second iteration, and he's doing it here in Detroit. And so when you first walk in, there is this kind of white frame like structure hanging from the ceiling, and there are these plants that are hanging on it.
Okay.
Right? And
Like potted plants?
potted plants.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll let him.
Okay.
I'll let him explain.
So that's Gregory and Anaïs. They're a duo from Lyon, France. And so it's an installation that they first created in 2007. And it's an interactive piece. When you touch it, the plants make a sound, or they have this kind of like sonic behavior. And it's really thinking about our relationship with plants, our relationship to ourselves, this notion of feeling alive. But I think also for me, it was important to have a piece that really truly demonstrates this intersection of art, nature and technology. And it's something that people can engage, touch, have fun with, and it does a nice job of setting the tone for the whole experience.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
really a
I
cool
love
piece.
that.
I love that too. Have you guys watched the show on Netflix, the Most Extraordinary Homes or something
Oh,
like
yeah. Yes.
And people create their homes and they always put like nature within their home because it's such a part of who we are. And I feel like
Yes.
that's amazing to remind people, hey, this is a part of our existence. And
It is, but here's what's different about these plants. Like, you touch them. I mean, you grab a stem or a leaf or something, and it starts making noise. It's like,
how does it do that?
I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. It's like
they're real live plants.
Yeah, it's like,
and you don't see wires.
You don't see wires or anything.
No,
in them.
it's like gurgling or they're happy noises, and you feel like they have moods.
Oh, wow.
So it's not words. It's
No,
more like
it's not
sound
words.
reactions.
You know what it reminded me of? This is going to sound weird. It reminded me of the movie Gremlins and the noise that Gizmo makes.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
But interesting. About plants having emotions, I feel like I could see that.
Yeah, it totally makes them feel like pets. It really does. So
aren't there like these, research that shows if you say words to your plants or
Yes.
you say positive things to them, they'll grow more lusciously or whatever.
Exactly.
And I feel like
Yeah.
So that was one of the displays there. Another one is there's this propane grill that's hooked up to a gas tank, and it's got an iPhone in it that, like they're basically like cooking an iPhone. And I had to ask him, I was like, look, what is this all about?
That piece is by American artists, and that comes out of a phenomenon, individuals who are cooking their iPhones on YouTube. So it's like a YouTube thing. He basically documented someone doing this kind of online phenomenon. He pours the Coca-Cola into the skillet, very Julia Child-esque, talking you through the process, and then reduces the Coca-Cola to this liquid goo, almost like lava, and then deploys the iPhone into the substance. And so, and it's a commentary on Americana. It's a commentary on the fact that some people got too much time on their hands. But I think it's also thinking about consumption, life cycle of an object. So there's a multitude of reads with that piece, which is why I enjoy it. Because again, you can know about art and art theory, or you can really take it for what it is that you're experiencing. But there's something for everybody.
It's that whole planned obsolescence thing. Like, they're not built to last.
Right.
They're built to get you to the next one.
Well, I mean, I have all these old laptops or phones, or and I don't know exactly how to dispose
so you're
of them.
thinking now of grilling them. Huh?
I was thinking about cooking them.
Well, there's also this human need all the time for stimulation and
Right.
what if, and it's like we've kind of gotten away from science experiments and getting your hands dirty on stuff. So
And
maybe
doing
this is
things.
just people.
But I like his
wanting that
explanation
through.
about it.
Yeah.
Having too much time and about consumption too, because there's other things you could be spending your time experimenting on.
Right. And
Right.
how much is it that you're doing, the thrill of doing it versus the reaction that you get once you upload it to YouTube?
Right, exactly. Is it for, the hits, the viral,
The clicks.
the viral video?
That is what I like about this, because I think if you just take it at face value, your first reaction is, this is just
dumb.
weird.
Yeah.
And then the more you get into it, the more that is a commentary on, planned obsolescence. This is a commentary on the life cycle of an object. This, I mean, it does make
It's provocative.
It is.
think about those
I mean, that's
things.
art. It's supposed to do that. What are you supposed to do with your phones? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going to
right.
give it to this artist. Maybe he'll make me a sandwich or something. Look, there's a lot more. I mean, we had a long conversation. You can hear the full conversation that I had with Larry. It is now in our mobile app. Right, so
Gotta go
before
get the
you before you burn your iPhone,
Download the app.
Or your
the app.
Android.
Right.
We have it for Android too.
True, yeah, it'll work on either. And you can hear that entire conversation. There's a lot more, because these are just two pieces in one of the exhibits, and there's 4 exhibits. There's a lot going on there. The exhibits run through April 21st, and you can get all the details at MOCADetroit.org. That's their website. All right. Coming up in just a moment, we'll talk about Detroit's absence in this year's Super Bowl commercials.
This is the D.
Breathe.
Becky, let's talk about some of the things that are happening around town.
Yeah, so I wanted to remind everybody that Winter Blast returns this weekend and next weekend. They took a weekend off for Super Bowl, but so there was 2 weekends that happened, and these are the remaining 2 weekends, this weekend and next. So February 8th through the 10th and February 15th through the 17th. So the highlights of this weekend are the Winter Blast Polar Plunge. So that's when you run out in your swimsuit.
You're not going to do it? You're not going to go?
That's not for me.
I
And
mean,
you jump
the polar
into
vortex was enough.
Exactly. And I was wearing 5 sweaters. So not getting in my swimsuit.
We're
jumping
hoping
in
to
there.
make it out to Winter Blast this weekend because it was a lot of fun last year. When we went.
It's good.
And this is the first year that, like you said, they're doing it on multiple weekends. And, I think we want them to keep doing it for free on multiple weekends.
Exactly.
They have live
so go
music,
out.
don't they?
They have
Yeah.
a lot of
Tents.
live music, like a great lineup. They have ice sculptures. I mean, there's food trucks out there. There's also a 30-foot winter slide. I think it's got like 4 channels that you can, so a lot of people can go down. You could kind of line up and your whole like family or friends of 4 could go down. And
If you've got kids, this is a great place to go to.
for
It's
sure.
a lot of fun. Yeah.
For sure. And the forecast, I know it was 50 degrees today,
Yeah.
but the forecast for the weekend is like 28 to 33.
Oh,
so
that's
it'll be good.
plunging temperature.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
plunging
right.
temperature, but
Absolutely.
it's not polar vortex, so
Wear
it's
a
kind of
swimsuit
sweet.
underneath all your 5 layers.
Yes, yeah. So I think it should be a success. If you want to find out more of the details, we did interview John Witz, and that whole interview is in our mobile app, and a piece of it is on everywhere else, right?
Yeah.
So go check that out. If you want to take your kids to a dance, you can go do so at the zoo this weekend on Saturday, February 9th. It's the Cubs Choice Dance. So moms and dads, aunts and uncles, grandmas and grandpas with kids. It's held in the Wildlife Interpretive Gallery, and there's a DJ to basically dance the night away.
Are the animals nearby?
There's butterflies inside there, but
Butterflies don't dance.
no,
They don't.
No, this is just a humans
Just the
situation. But
human cubs.
there is an amazing exhibit in there right now, which is wildlife photography that is stellar. So it's another good reason to go.
Nice.
So a couple of things coming up for Valentine's Day. I mean, that is right around the corner, right? So this Sunday, February 10th, there's a Valentine's Day market presented by Handmade Detroit. Now, they're the same folks that do the Detroit Urban Craft Fair. That's so great. This one will be held at the Majestic, and it's $1 admission just to get into the indie market, and that's going to have 30 different vendors, all kinds of gifts and goodies and treats for your Valentine.
Yeah.
And you can also, this is a kind of a cool twist to it, you can buy a $10 wristband and I'll do all sorts of things. There's make and take stations and workshops taught by some artists and crafters. For example, you can make fortune cookies out of felt. You can do homemade sugar scrubs. You can screen print some Valentine cards, a whole slew of things. So
that's kinda cool.
Yeah, it sounds neat. So there's also a Beer My Valentine pop-up shop. So this is really last minute. If you want to wait till the day before, it's Wednesday, February 13th. You can eat, drink, and shop at Batch Brewing. So have a beer and buy some Rebel Nell jewelry and gifts. They have some other things too. For example, they'll be debuting their new bottle openers. All purchases over $60. You also get free graffiti-themed chocolates from Bam Bam Bam.
I will highly endorse both Batch Brewing, and not just the beer, the food there is
so good,
amazing.
yeah.
And also the Rebel Nell jewelry. This is the jewelry that they make out of graffiti that they find around Detroit, that they harvest.
And even Flint and other places
Yeah.
too. They get it sent to them, and they employ women in pretty vulnerable situations, and they can bring their kids to work, and they get continuing education and things like that. So it's a great cause and really wonderful product.
Yeah, I've done Rebel Nell jewelry. I forget whether it was Valentine's Day or birthday. I should probably remember, but
It's
I
good for all
definitely did it
those
for
things.
some important occasion.
And they're always making something new. I mean, they have rings and keychain and
Yeah, I gotta look
earrings
them up.
and all kinds of goodies.
No two pieces are alike.
Correct.
So, all right, coming up in just a moment, we're going to do some shout outs.
This is the G.
Detroit.
This is the G. Breathe.
There's mistake number 2.
This is the D.
Detroit.
Breathe.
All right, I want to talk about the Super Bowl.
Why?
Because, first of
Yeah,
all,
that's a good question.
I had to watch a football game. I don't, I'm not a sports fan. I
Yeah.
do not watch football on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But I do watch the Super Bowl because
Sure.
it's a big pop culture event. I don't know.
Yeah.
But also, supposedly the ads, are supposed to be a lot of
Usually
fun.
there's some cool ones. Yeah,
The
no.
game was boring. The halftime show was boring. The ads were boring. Like, it was...
Some of the ads were downright bad. Like
Yeah.
the Michelob Ultra with the woman speaking in like the porn voice about.
So you know what that
Not
is?
cool.
I didn't know. I didn't realize this until I looked it up later.
Oh.
There is. There's an acronym for it. It's a special type of sensory thing.
ASMR.
Yes, that's it. You know.
That's the if you touch the mic or if you talk really quietly.
Exactly.
And it sends a shiver up your
right.
spine.
Yes.
And it didn't happen to me because well, there was a lot of brandy in me at the first time I was watching the game. But when I went back today and watched that, it did. Like, it totally sent a shiver up my spine from the effects.
Okay,
and
yeah, I get that. But just the one...
I mean, I don't know what it has.
If
You know who that is.
If you know about ASMR, then I guess, you would enjoy
Yeah.
it. My sister loves it. She goes to sleep listening to ASMR.
Oh, I totally get that because there was a waterfall and everything. But to me, it came across as sex sells.
Right. Well, you know who that is.
Well-
That's Lenny Kravitz's daughter.
Yes, and I
So-
love her. She's gorgeous,
Yeah.
and no disrespect, but I just feel like it came across more the sex part than the sexy
ASMR.
part than the ASMR. Yeah.
That didn't bother me so much.
Right.
What about the Andy Warhol one? That was the one that to me it was just like, this is weird.
And I don't think Andy. I didn't want him to eat Burger King.
Well, so that's from a real film.
It is. It was him. Yeah. I know.
Actually, an art film from 1982 or something.
Yeah.
Where it's just him eating a burger. A Burger
pouring
King
out the
burger.
ketchup and it's stuck in the bottle. And
I was reading about it, and he actually said, I wish I'd eaten a McDonald's burger, not because he prefers McDonald's burgers, but just because it was more of a pop culture phenomenon
It had more
than
resonance, yeah.
Burger King. And
I mean, what was the ad for, though?
for Burger King.
King. For Burger
Okay.
King.
And they literally they took it unedited and just all
Just
they did
slapped
was
it up.
slapped a logo on at the end, and they got permission from Andy Warhol's
Yeah.
estate and the whole thing. But it was just bizarre and weird,
Yeah.
and it stood out, but I didn't think in a good way.
No, I don't think so either.
So one of the things that was really interesting about the Super Bowl ads this year is who wasn't there, who was missing. The big three Detroit automakers did not have Super Bowl ads this year. You had ads from a lot of other car companies, Toyota,
Lots.
Mercedes, Kia, Audi. I thought the Hyundai ad with Jason Bateman
In the elevator?
That was
That was
I
hilarious.
thought that was like the best ad.
That was funny.
Yeah, I really liked
I
that.
also like the Stella Artois ad. Did you
Really?
see-
With
Yeah,
the
I
Big
thought that was-
Lebowski?
Yeah, I thought that was cute.
No, I
didn't like it?
I don't know. It just
Why?
it felt like it was trying too hard to me, I guess.
okay.
So, but no, there was the big three Detroit automakers were not there. Apparently, Fiat Chrysler released a series of ads for the Ram trucks online. And this is the thing that a lot of companies are doing now is they're able to sort of take advantage of the halo effect of the Super Bowl
Sure.
by putting the ads online. And so they did that. In fact, one of them actually featured the song Highway Tune by Greta Van Fleet,
yeah. It's
who
one
of
of their big
course is, Michigan band. Fiat Chrysler, you may remember, got into some trouble last year because they ran an ad that used Dr. Martin Luther King.
yeah,
And it was
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
like,
and-
Like, why are you doing that?
to sell
What is
cars.
it for?
Consumerism.
It's consumerism.
Yeah.
I feel like it's similar to Nike putting a hijab, a headscarf,
Yes.
ad because that's a huge market to get into. So just,
So how did you feel about Nike using Colin Kaepernick in ads?
I don't know. I guess as a consumer, it's hard to judge what a person or an organization's intentions are.
Yeah.
But it's hard not to question them.
Well, it's very easy to be cynical
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
And
Yeah, definitely.
there may be very good reason to. Yeah, I agree. It's tough to know. So
Because they're making tons of money off of it.
They are. Yeah, I'm with you. So there was a Toyota ad that featured somebody from Michigan, a woman from Redford. Her name is Toni Harris. She's a 22-year-old football player. 2014 graduate of Redford Union High School. She's currently a sophomore defensive back at East Los Angeles College, and she's the first female football player to play a non-specialist position.
And the first to get offered a scholarship.
Yeah,
As
so-
a non-specialized position player. Yeah.
Good for her, and it's nice to have some Michigan representation in at least some of the ads. I guess.
And I liked the tone of it too. Is that they took her through like her workout routine and her football career, and it was all about. People said she was to this and to that. She wouldn't make it. She wasn't
Right.
good enough. And then they show her throwing these tires around and beating all the odds. And then says people had a lot of assumptions about her. And then it cuts to her in the car saying, "But I've never been a big fan of assumptions." Like it was powerful. I
Yeah.
thought it was good.
Well, go check it out online if you can, because it was cool to watch.
This is the D.
Detroit.
This is the D. Breathe.
There it is. What'd you think? That's your first show,
That was good.
right? You're good at
enjoyed it.
this.
I know.
Sounds like fast.
She does her own show.
I know,
so
you do your
it's-
own. It's not that different than
It's not.
Instagram Live and then
It's
the
really
podcast.
not.
You don't have to interact with people, though. That's nice.
I like the structure, though. You guys have it set up nicely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, look, we've got a mobile app. You can download it. And like we said, there's some bonus episodes with content that you can only get in the mobile app, some of the longer conversations we've had with people. So if you get a chance, download that.
You can also listen to us on your Amazon Echo. You just say, Alexa, enable the Debrief podcast.
And on Thursday, we're going to talk to Josh Mallerman. He is the author of the book Bird Box, which has become that big, huge Sandra Bullock movie on Netflix. That's freaky. Before we get out of here, let's do a couple of shout-outs. This is something that we like to do. We just like to acknowledge somebody locally that...
Somebody around town.
Yeah, we think's done something cool. So, Becky, what you got this week?
Well, I finally got a chance to go to Anti-Hero, the Japanese place in downtown Ferndale. And part of the Working Class Outlaws restaurant group there, along with Imperial and Public House. But Anti-Hero is great. I love the atmosphere. So much local art in there by local artists, wonderful murals, including in the bathrooms. Like, you got to go to the bathroom there.
Is it weird? I judge a place by the quality of its bathroom.
Oh, and that's not weird at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, it's a big factor. Yeah. They have just cool decor. We sat at the bar, really nice bartender. Shout out to Alex. The food was awesome. The drinks were good. I mean, the cocktails are on that side now that craft cocktails cost, 12 to 15. But I thought the food was really reasonable. It was nice to have, like, less expensive dishes.
Right.
I liked it when I was there. I had a lot of
the
fun.
Brussels sprouts were my favorite.
Yeah, the tofu. And I
did
am
have
not a person who raves about tofu.
Yeah, they have tofu in a fair number of their things. It's very good. So we liked it a lot.
All right, what about you, Tazeen?
Last weekend, I went to see River Spirit. They're a band that are based out of Detroit, and they did an album release in Hamtramck on Sunday. And that was great. They did a really phenomenal job. The singer and the band leader of the group has this beautiful voice and really wide range, and it was just a really cool setup. And then they brought an upright bass like in the middle of the set, which was really cool because it was like 2 electric guitars, drums, and an upright bass. So that was a really good show.
What kind of music do they generally do?
It's indie, and it's just a mix of a bunch of different things. But what's interesting is most of their songs on the album doesn't have a bass at all, so it's very mid-range.
Okay.
And the vocals are really ethereal.
Nice. I'm going
That's
to
how I
check
would
that
describe
out.
it. But yeah, pretty indie.
Cool. I want to give a shout out to Detroit Repertory Theater. I went and saw House of Poetry. Remember, we interviewed Leah Smith, who's the director of this and is also taking over as the artistic director of the theater.
And David Kiley talked about it as
well.
well.
He talked about it as well. And really cool and unusual. The set's amazing. And the play is, so first of all, it's a world premiere. And it is set in this house that supposedly Edgar Allan Poe lived in, and there's ghosts and there's gender bending, and it's interesting. So definitely go check it out if you get a moment. Hey, I want to thank a couple of people before we go, including Larry Osei-Mensah of MOCAD. Again, you can hear that full conversation in our mobile app. And thank you to you, Tazeen. We're so glad that you joined us.
This is great.
So Digging Deeper, if people want to go check it out, happens on Instagram.
Yes, Tuesdays, 7 p.m. every week.
So what do they need to do? They need to follow you?
Just follow me on Instagram at tazeen.ayub. And just at 7 p.m., log in. And then you can go to the website as well, which is digging-deeper, so digging-deeper.org. And all the episodes from the past year are on there as well.
Go check mine out that I was on.
Yeah, she was on last week. Yeah. And I also do open mic. So I'm hosting open mic at the Bottom Line Coffee House this Friday, which is the 7th. So come out for that.
Didn't you have the owner of that on your show too?
Yes, Nora was on it too. Yep.
Cool.
And then what about for your band? Where do we find it?
Yes, if you go to our website, lufuki, so lufuki.org, all the upcoming shows will be listed on there. And the album is on there as well.
What's it called?
Inner Horizons.
All right.
You can get it on Spotify, Amazon,
Stream
iTunes.
it anywhere.
Yep.
Well, come back tomorrow and join us again, will you?
Cool, we'll do.
All right. Until then, Detroit's moving.
Keep up.
The Debrief.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.